Man, it's the T-Train Show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod. What up? L-Train. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the 3 to hard.
Welcome to another edition of 3 the Hard Way. We had a little bit of trouble getting on yesterday with the whole Amazon streaming, all these websites being down, but we have a lot of resolve, so we are back today. Let me introduce my fellas, the man who wants all the smoke. You will listen, my man, Hot Rod, the influencer. Hot Rod, Mr. Rodney Young. What's going on, Hot Rod?
3 the Hard Way Nation, and as my man L Train just said, you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen.
And right beside of us, as always, the man who had great APBs last week, batten down the hatches for the captain, Mr. Terrence Austin T. What's going on, man?
What's happening, fellas, and what's happening to everyone out there? 3 the Hard Way Nation. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's get this ship underway. Let's go.
Let's get it going. I'm going to start the show by saying, thank you, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cleveland. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. Joe Flacco showed up and showed out for the Cincinnati Bengals. The fans of Cincinnati, being who they are, started chanting, thank you, Cleveland. But the Cleveland Browns, fellas, they're coming off a win on Sunday. Can't dispute that. Got a lot of the fan base feeling good. Dillon Gabriel was not awful. He wasn't great, but he was not awful. And as much as we vilify Kevin Stefanski on this show, Kevin Stefanski made some adjustments. Instead of having Dillon Gabriel throw 100 times a game, Dillon Gabriel played a more conservative offense. The Browns ran the ball a little bit more, gave Junkins a chance to do his thing. So it showed that at least Kevin Stefanski, I don't know whether he was listening to Myles Garrett. I don't know whether he had a little bit of self-reflection, fellas, but he made a change, and the change worked on Sunday. Will it be long-term? I don't know. Is it going to fix the Browns? I don't know that either, but it was great to see him change and at least show a little bit of smarts on his part. So what are your thoughts about the game from this past Sunday, Kevin Stefanski and his changes, and the Cleveland Browns in general?
Yeah, it was a good showing all around. It was like going to a good restaurant where you had good appetizer, good meal, and a great dessert. The offense played well, the defense played well, and special teams. Dillon Gabriel, like you say, he wasn't great, but he was good. He was 13 for 18 for 116 yards. And Quinshawn Junkins, 25 rushes for 84 yards with that one rush of 46 yards, okay? So, hey, again, the Browns were clicking on all cylinders. Now, my concern and the receivers were catching the ball. They were catching the ball on a nasty day, wind, rain, wet. Yeah, it was a very nasty day. It was typical Northeast Ohio weather, that weather that we grew up in, that Rod no longer has to deal with out there in Arizona. Now, you L-Train up there in Minnesota, you know, you see it a whole lot worse. And then me here in Virginia, it's kind of give or take. But anyway, again, the Browns, look good that day. Now, my concern is still, when is Dillon Gabriel going to use that strong arm and throw deep?
That's a great question.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy is a deep threat. When is the coach going to take the mittens off of the kid and let him throw deep? Okay, I'm still waiting to see that. But getting back to, the case at hand, the Browns looked pretty good that day. That was a much-needed win. It felt good to have a victory that Sunday. I slept well Sunday evening, was able to talk trash Monday when I got to work and didn't have to hide from all the Washington Commanders fans and elsewhere. All my sailors, they come from all over the world, and everybody's got a team.
That's right.
So it felt good. And I just hope we can carry over into next week. We got a tough opponent next week. We got those New England Patriots with that tough, nasty defense, okay? And they're trying to get back into their winning ways. And, that quarterback that they got, he's
Drake May is tough.
Drake May is tough. But if we can put together a win next week, man, that'll be great. But that's my take. It was a good win Sunday. Now let's come back and do it again. Because again, like I say, we aren't playing well, but we're not a bad team. There's a lot of talent on that team,
But you talk about Dillon Gabriel throwing the ball downfield. Is Jerry Jeudy going to catch the ball if you throw it downfield?
Well, that's his element. He likes the deep ball. Yeah, throw it to him, and
Yeah.
he just may. He just may. Yeah, he just may. I see Rod smiling there. He's probably got a different take, but unleash it.
I'm gonna
Unleash
keep
it. Throw it deep.
this
Throw it deep.
positive as possible. It was a great win. Let's first and foremost say that there is a team that is not as good as the Browns, and it's the Miami Dolphins. This is actually the elixir that the Browns needed.
True.
Quinshawn Junkins. Yeah.
And the Jets.
Quinshawn
and the
Junkins
Jets.
had
the Saints.
had a good game. He could have had 100 yards, but there were some times where, guys were blitzing. They started run blitzing in the second half, and it was kind of tough for him, to get going. Dillon Gabriel managed the game, okay? He didn't throw 56 times. He threw 18 times. That's fine. The defense was outstanding. Jim Schwartz is not a defensive coordinator who blitzes a lot, but he did. He blitzed Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
He blitzed him. He brought Myles Garrett on some twists. That's how Myles was able to get a sack. Grant Delpit, he started blitzing, and that was based off of Myles Garrett. He said he had a conversation with Jim Schwartz. Okay, now that's what I'm talking about.
With
you the highest paid player in the building. Okay, if it's something you don't like, then go ahead and speak up. And he did. He told Jim, we need to put pressure. We need to come and put pressure on these guys. And and I heard he even talk to Stefanski and said, look, we need to run this boy Junkins. We need to run the football a little bit more. And so, the guys in the building listen to the $40 million man. That's what I'm gonna say. Overall, they got the W. Okay. And I know there are people who, and I'm going to be honest, listening to some people beginning of this week, you see Browns fans they're not satisfied. They're not satisfied. What they're saying is, okay, you guys are supposed to beat the Miami Dolphins. Now, if they turn around and they beat the New England Patriots, because the division is so bad, if they beat the Patriots, they're back into it
and wide
because
open.
they have a bye after the Patriots, and then I think they have the Jets after that. If they can beat the Patriots, okay, and this is being that, pie in the sky hopeful Browns fan, they actually could get themselves back into it, okay? So no, I'm not gonna knock that. I do want to see Kevin Stefanski tear the label off and let Dillon Gabriel go, because we really need to see this. Right now he's checked down Charlie. He'll check down, but also, and L Train said this, I think a week or so ago. He's still throwing some hospital balls. He's still throwing some, he needs to thank his stars, because he could have thrown 2 or 3 interceptions, this past week. These DBs are dropping these picks.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm going to stay positive with it. A dub is a dub. We will take it. We will take the W. My thing is, and my question is, and L Train, you can answer it, and Cap, you can answer it. Is this sustainable? Is it sustainable? That's the question that I want to ask, because you see Stefanski kind of opened up the playbook a little bit. You definitely seen Jim Schwartz open it up. Special teams played well. They saved Bubba Ventrone's job for another week, okay? But could this be the turnaround? Is this sustainable? Can they go into New England and give this kind of effort and beat Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots?
Yeah. We will see, Rod, okay? We'll see. Game at a time, one game at a time. If they can play next week like they did this past Sunday, they got a chance. They have a chance, okay? Again, New England is, they're starting to come back into form as well.
They are.
We have just as many, good players on our team as they do. Now, again, they have a great defense. This will be a chance for Dillon Gabriel, to show his stuff, to show what he has, to live out that experience of playing 4 years up there in Oregon, okay? And being Kevin Stefanski's guy. So we'll see. We will see. I don't know what the weather conditions are going to be like, but hey, I like our chances. Our backs will be against the wall. We'll be playing in their house. Go get them, Cleveland. Go get them.
Yeah.
Because, again, this has been a season where a lot of teams that we thought were, going to win, supposed to win, didn't win. So it's anybody's game, man. It's anybody's game.
Yeah, hi, Rod. I think it's a great question, man. The way I look at it, is it sustainable? I don't know if the word sustainable gives me a good idea on whether the Browns can continue it, but I do think the way they played this past Sunday gives them their best chance to win week in and week out. They were pretty much conservative and very aggressive on defense, and that's where the Cleveland Browns hang their hat is on defense. And I think the one thing that shocked me out of everything is that Kevin Stefanski, who I agree with Hot Rod 1,000%, is probably one of the most pettiest coaches in the league. So to have a leader of the team come and suggest things to him and hearing what all the fans were saying, I'm just surprised that he changed a little bit. Yeah. Because he fancies himself as this smart, innovative, intellectual coach. We've got one of those up here in Minnesota. So the more that people bang the table on certain things, the more stubborn they get. And I was glad to see Kevin Stefanski change and make some adjustment. Here's the $1 million question, in my opinion, and I'd love to pick you guys' brain on this. I think you're absolutely right. They beat New England. They're 3-5.
Yeah.
They're in this thing. You look at the division, anybody can come out of there.
Yeah.
The trade deadline is coming up. You get to 3-5, you beat New England. Are there moves that you think the Cleveland Browns are going to make? Because essentially they should be buyers now at the trade deadline because they have an opportunity. They lose. That's another road that they may have to go down where they start selling off some pieces, trying to get under the cap as much as they possibly can. So this New England game is pretty significant, fellas. What are your thoughts about them getting to 3-5? What are they going to do if they beat New England?
You hit it right in the head. We're at a fork in the road, okay?
Yeah.
If you win, you need to be buyers, okay? You need to be buyers. But if you get the doors blown off you, hey, then that's another thing. Then you're looking towards the future. You're looking for better in this team in the future. But again, it's up to them, L Train.
Yeah.
It's up to them what direction they go in. And again, like I say, I think this is a game that they can win. This isn't the old Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Patriots that we're going up against. It's not, okay? They're a formidable opponent. Josh McDaniels is working wonders with that offense. But again, they still can be beat, okay? And I hope that this week that the guys are locked in at practice and saying, hey, we're going to show, our fans and we're going to show, the rest of the NFL that, hey, we're nothing to be talked about and pushed aside, okay? So we're coming. So show up and make it happen.
I agree with you, Cap. They have the opportunity to right the ship, if they can beat New England. They have that opportunity. My biggest thing is when it comes to the Browns playing the Patriots, will they put in the right game plan? You know what I'm saying? Because Mike Vrabel knows this team. Remember, he was the pseudo offensive line coach. Yeah. He knows the weaknesses of this team. Okay, he knows that Myles Garrett is that stud. So I'm telling everybody, don't look for a big time Myles Garrett game because they're going to chip him, they're going to double him, they're going to run away from him. They're not going to let Myles Garrett wreck this game. However, like I said, the rookies are stepping up. I love Mason Graham, how he played this past week. Schlesinger is an absolute dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
I love that one hit he laid. I love that. Remember that hit he laid on that guy?
Yes,
He laid the wood. He laid the wood, man.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
And we talked about this also, L Train.
Yeah.
Those guys there that I just named, Mason Graham, Junkins, Schlesinger, they create culture.
Yep.
Look at the aggressiveness that these guys are playing with.
Yep.
They're trying to create a culture. They don't care about where the Browns came from. They're saying currently, right now, we want to build this team to be a winner. We're here. Schlesinger is going to be an all-pro for many years. Junkins, if he stays healthy, will be an all-pro for years. Same thing with Mason Graham. I hear people talk about Mason Graham and he ain't making plays. He's playing the one technique. He is constantly being double-teamed, but he still is being effective. That's why Isaiah McGuire is being effective. It's because of Mason Graham. It's not because of Myles, okay? They're rolling over there to Myles, but you can't put everybody on Myles Garrett and then leave Mason Graham open or leave Shelby Harris open. You can't No, you have to pick your poison. And now that Jim Schwartz is now bringing blitzes, and that corner we just acquired, and his name slips me right now, but I did not realize, and I heard it this week, but I had to watch the film. I didn't realize how big he is. Okay, and that running back for Miami is a world-class sprinter, and he ran him down. Okay, he sprinted and ran him down. So, and then he got a pick. So what I'm saying is, I think, and as L Train says, this is fluid. I think that this might be the tipping point. Okay, I think this might be something that's going to galvanize this team. Okay. And I think that they're going to go after the New England Patriots. I am not sold that the Patriots are this juggernaut. Don't get me wrong. I love Mike Vrabel. But I feel like if the Browns can put it together, if Stefanski can get this offense just to move the ball a bit, they can beat them. Now, to answer that question real quick, if they are buyers, my only concern is, what are you buying? Let's look at the free agent market. What are you buying?
That's the question.
You're not going to be able to go out and find 2 quality tackles. Not right now. You can go look for some receivers, but, I think what the Browns are going to do is they're going to just try to stick it out. Now, to the captain's point, if they lose, then they're sellers. Shelby Harris will be gone. I think David Njoku's gone regardless. I think they're sold on Harold Fanning Jr. I think they're going to ride with Harold Fanning and Whitehead, who is who's a third string. I think they'll move him up to second. I think David Njoku is gone. I think as quickly as they got rid of Greg Newsome, I think they're going to get rid of Njoku because Njoku has slowed down. He's not the same David Njoku that when he came out of the University of Miami. He's gotten older, and they're not going to pay him top dollar to just catch the ball a couple times a game. They're not going to do that. So, but yes, if the Browns win,
nor should
they can go looking. But I think by them winning, and if they beat New England and then they got that bye week and the Jets are a dumpster fire too, the Browns are back in it. They're back in it.
Yep. The cornerback you were speaking of was Tyson Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell.
Yeah, who came back from a rough game. And played pretty well. He is a big brother, man. For a cornerback, his size and length are unmatched. I think if the Cleveland Browns are in the buyer's market, if they beat New England, I think they have to get something that's serviceable at wide receiver. You can look at a lot of different areas where they can improve. I think, Hot Rod, I think you're 100% right. They may stay pat and kind of ride this thing out for the rest of the year. But if they do make a move, I think it's going to be at wide receiver to kind of bring somebody in here. Here's one thing that I wanted to touch on, because this has been a topic of conversation on various podcasts. A lot of content creators have had an opportunity to answer this question, so I want to see what you guys think. There's a lot of people that want to see Shedeur play, obviously. He's a fan favorite. He's got the jersey sales. People want to see him get his opportunity. I want to see him get his opportunity. There was a faction of people that was like, man, how come Kevin Stefanski didn't get him in the game? You guys have a problem with him not playing? See, I'm not surprised that Kevin Stefanski didn't put him in. This is kind of the pettiness that Hot Rod was talking about. So I wasn't surprised that he didn't get in. My question is, do you have a problem with him not getting into the game?
I had no problem at all, L Train. Like I say, if this was Joe Flacco or another veteran quarterback, okay, who had a 20, 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, you take him out because you need him for next week, then, you put him down and let Shedeur come in, okay? This was a case where Dillon Gabriel, who is also a rookie too, who is trying to make his name and is he is the number 2 quarterback on this team, okay? Shedeur, probably is, better than him, but Dillon is the number 2 guy, so let's roll with him. And I had no problem with him finishing and closing out the game and then downing it in the end to complete the game for him, because I think had you brought Shedeur in, that would have taken away from the narrative, okay? So you don't, have a rookie plan and then he do well and then you bring another rookie in because he's a fan favorite, he's a celebrity, he's this and that. No, you don't do that. So I had no problem with it, okay? When it's Shadeur's turn to play the game, when it's his turn to be in, let him be in. But for right now, I had no problem with how it played out. Again, if that was Joe Flacco, yeah, no problem. Then you bring Shador in. But a rookie for a rookie,
So
no, I had no
for
problem
me,
with
this
it.
is
No.
the one time. And Cap makes a lot of sense. You do, T. You're making a lot of sense. However, coming from a coach's standpoint, and I've been in games similar to that, when you have a lead like that, you start putting in your backups to get reps, okay? Because you don't want your starters to get hurt. Now, let's say he kept Dillon Gabriel in and had the backup offensive line. I probably wouldn't have said anything, okay? Because now, okay, you getting the rookie,
Right.
you want him to get some snaps. But the fact that he kept in Batonio, the fact that he kept in Posich and the entire offensive first unit, and you're beating the absolute brakes off of Miami. They could not move the football. To me, it just continued to show Kevin Stefanski's pettiness. Now, I say that because, and what people are, you got to see who I got on. I love Shador Sanders. I just want to see this kid. I want to see it because I think from the standpoint we are delaying the inevitable. I think this kid is going to take the rings, and I think he is just going to do it. Okay. However, I do agree with you, T. Yes, get Dillon Gabriel some more snaps. But if you're going to get him some more snaps, throw the ball down the field. Stop this dinking and dunking, okay? Because we don't know if he can do that. Yeah, all right? Yeah. So, like I said, he threw 18 passes. Yes, it was because of the climate. I get it, maybe so. But if we look at the passing chart, he very rarely throws the ball 20 yards or more, okay, from what I've seen. And so I do want to see Shador. And like I said, I'm coming from a coach's standpoint of you're up big, put your backups in. But I also agree with you, and I've heard other people basically confirm what you're saying is that if you will put Shador into the game, now the narrative changes. You're not talking about Dillon Gabriel. You're not talking about Quinshon Judkins scoring 3 touchdowns. Right. The only running back to score 3 touchdowns since Nick Chubb.
Agreed.
Right.
You're talking about a Shador got into the game.
Right.
However, again, if you're constantly coming to me saying this kid's not ready, he needs reps. You got 9 minutes on the clock. You're up big. When are you going to give him live reps? You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of a catch-22. Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just coming from the aspect of I think Kevin Stefanski is petrified to put Shador Sanders into the game, not because he can't do it. I think he's petrified in putting him in the game because once he does it, he knows that the narrative of Dillon Gabriel will stop. It will stop. And Dillon Gabriel is his guy. I said it. I've also said this because I said I thought Jimmy Haslam was the one that chose Shador. No, the more that I'm looking at the narrative now, Andrew Berry did choose Shador Sanders. And the only reason I'm saying that is Andrew Berry chose Shador Sanders and he chose Dillon Gabriel. But Andrew Berry wants to see Shador Sanders, i.e. why Joe Flacco was traded to Cincinnati, because he knew that Kevin Stefanski, in his pettiness, was not going to make Shador Sanders the number 2 quarterback. He was stuck on making Joe Flacco number 2. So Andrew Berry said, "Au contraire, mon frère, let's go ahead and send you somewhere else." So he sent him to Cincinnati. Now, whether you agree with him sending somebody within the division, we could talk about that some other time. But he got rid of Joe Flacco really fast. And the reason I say that is, listen to Kevin Stefanski. He said, well, this caught us by surprise. No. It didn't catch you. So it caught you by surprise.
It caught him by surprise.
Because his idea was to keep Joe Flacco as number 2. Now, with Joe Flacco being in Cincinnati, he didn't have a choice. And he wasn't going to be dumb enough to say, well, we're just going to bring Bailey Zappi up off the practice squad and make him number 2. No. He wasn't going to do that. So I think Kevin is unless and I also think this, if you look at the conservativeness of how Dillon Gabriel is running the offense, Kevin Stefanski does not want him to make mistakes, because if he does, Kevin knows. You got that dude that says he's legendary sitting behind him. And the people, they're already clamoring for Shedeur. Let Dillon Gabriel have a clunker. It's just going to increase. So that's what I'm saying. So, I agree with you, T. I do. At the end of the day, I agree with what you're saying, getting that rookie some more reps. I'm coming from the aspect of you're up big. Get your backup quarterback some reps. You know what I mean? That's just me. There's no right or wrong to me.
Right. Yeah. There was another chant, during the Cleveland Browns game that the fans were saying, "We want Sanders. We want Sanders." I don't know if you guys heard that at the end of the game. Me personally, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Shedeur. I don't want to see Shedeur. And the reason why I say that, if they would have put him in at the end of the game, he's basically a handoff merchant at that point. He's going to be handing the ball off, running clock out, so he's not going to be able to show what he needs to show the public. So until he gets that opportunity, I want Shedeur on the shelf. Secondly, I want Dillon Gabriel. I want his opportunities to get exhausted when it's all said and done. Because for me, and again, I don't have the coaching football acumen that Hot Rod has. So I'm not even going to sit here and pretend to be a football coach. But I think I have a pretty good idea how the Dillon Gabriel era is going to end. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's the guy. If he takes the reins and he flies with this franchise for the next 10 years and makes the Cleveland Browns successful, I'll support him. I just don't think that that's going to happen. And I think the better quarterback is the second string quarterback. I think the ceiling for Shedeur is way higher than Dillon Gabriel. And all I have are my eyes and the eyes test of what I've watched over the years with the Colorado Buffaloes and the Oregon, State. Oregon, not Oregon State, but Oregon. So, I just think when you look at those two quarterbacks, I just think Shedeur is the better quarterback. Here's what I have a problem with. And I'm not going to mention the podcast, and I'm not going to mention the reporter, but there was a reporter, and I'm starting to really dislike Cleveland media, man. I'm just starting to, with this whole Shedeur thing, I'm starting to dislike. There was someone that reported on their podcast, and if people want to go out and find it, they can find it. I'm a fan of the podcast, but I wasn't a fan of this statement. The statement was this well-known reporter in Cleveland had a friend or a resource that was watching Shedeur on the sideline. And he mentioned to this reporter that Shedeur never sits by Dillon Gabriel when he comes off the field. He said Shedeur should be a sponge. He should be in these conversations. And so he's getting this secondhand from his friend or his resource, whoever his friend and resource is. But the fact that he stated it on a well-known Cleveland podcast is irresponsible, especially when you don't know what you know. You're getting it secondhand. He even said on the podcast that he really didn't see it. He's getting it from a friend. So to report that is irresponsible, especially when you have a guy fighting for a job on the team. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I don't know if Shedeur was sitting by Dillon Gabriel when Dillon Gabriel came out of the game. Here's what I do know because I saw it. Every time Dillon Gabriel came out of the game, Shedeur said something to him. I don't know what was said, but they had conversations. They weren't sitting next to each other. They were on the sidelines. They were conversing. So don't try to act like Shedeur is not engaged with what's going on, because that was the purpose of that statement, is to act like Shedeur, because he's not playing, he's not engaged what's going on. Our platform, what we do, is not as big as their platform, but fellas, we've got a responsibility too. So I'm going to throw the truth out there. Shedeur is engaging with Dillon Gabriel when he comes out of the game. He might not be sitting next to him. I just thought it was an irresponsible take by a pretty well-known reporter on a pretty big podcast about the Cleveland Browns, man. I was just kind of fed up with that. And then my second thing, and I'll wrap this up, Mary Kay said today that she expects, and I love Mary Kay, but she says she expects Shedeur to play at some point this season. Fellas, answer me this. Why? How? If Dillon Gabriel is the guy, why do you expect Shedeur to play? Are you talking about mop-up minutes, or are you talking about him actually playing? If Dillon Gabriel is the guy, Shador shouldn't see the field for the rest of the year. And then I'll just leave that and let that marinate where it is.
Right. And why she's saying that, I don't know, L Train. And I listen to her a lot, and I have a lot of respect for her as well. But getting back to that sitting next to the quarterback, and Rod, correct me if I'm wrong, as you coach, those seats next to the quarterback are for the guys that are actually on the field, right? Like the old linemen and the receivers and the tight ends. Aren't those the spots that should be right next to the quarterback instead of, maybe Shador? That's not his place, to be sitting next to him. Correct me if I'm wrong. And getting back to what Mary Kay is saying, again, at the end of the day, that's why I always look at the big picture. This is entertainment, okay? It's entertainment, and Mary Kay has to be an entertainer,
Yeah.
And it's her narrative, her job, just to facilitate, what the fans want to talk about, push, encourage discussion, the whole 9 yards, okay? Again, like I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't have any expectations for this team that I've been rooting for since Brian Sipe was the quarterback, okay?
Yep.
I just want the best guy under center. Right now, again, that guy happens to be Dillon Gabriel. When it's no longer, his time, if he can't get the job done, then bring in Shador, okay? But at the end of the day, I just want my Cleveland Browns to win.
For
That's
me,
it.
the
best guy under center.
Let
That's what I
Coach
want.
Young break this down like a fraction. So, first of all, when Dillon Gabriel comes off the field, he goes and he gets on the headphones with Tommy Reese, who is the offensive assistant. And he's talking to Tommy Reese on the headphones. Shador Sanders has the same headphones. So he's listening to the same thing that Tommy Reese is telling Dillon Gabriel. He doesn't have to sit down next to him to hear what the quarterback's coach is talking about. All he has to do is keep his headsets on. Now, if you remember, when he was the third string, he was sitting next to Dillon Gabriel because he was not on the headset. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So you see how the Cleveland media,
Rob, break
some
it
of
down.
them, okay, because I know exactly what L Train is talking about, how they spin their own narrative, okay?
I do too.
As for the comment that Mary Kay Cabot made, I'm going to answer why she made that comment. Is because Jimmy Haslam said earlier in the season, before the season started, you guys will see Shador Sanders. Jimmy Haslam said that. So that's why we're going to see Shador Sanders at some point in time, because Jimmy Haslam understands where the bread is buttered. And the bread is not buttered on Dillon Gabriel. The bread is buttered on Shador Sanders. And I'm going to leave you with this point. If you notice the quarterbacks that have personality that came through Cleveland, they're no longer in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston. He got rid of Jameis Winston so fast it made your head spin. And now he has an issue with Shador Sanders. And so this is something that Anthony Grossi won't talk about because he doesn't know. These people don't know. They don't watch. They don't pay attention. Okay? That's why I listen to people who talk football. I listen to Tyvis Powell. He played the game. I listen to G. Bush. He played the game. I listen on KNR to Gerard Cherry because he played the game at a high level. All these other cats that are
four-time Super Bowl
who's
winner.
never played a down in their life or sat down and put together a schematic or a game plan, I don't want to hear from them. I want to hear from the dudes who've been in the trenches, who played this game at a high level to talk about the game. And stop spinning the narrative that Shador Sanders is aloof, that he's not paying attention, okay? Stop it, okay? Because you don't want to see him on the field, because they know that he is the better quarterback. It's no knock on Dillon Gabriel. If I'm the Miami Dolphins right now, if I'm Miami, I'm sending a third or fourth round draft pick for Dillon Gabriel, because right now, with all due respect, Dillon Gabriel is better than Tua Tagovailoa right now, because Tua has lost that locker room. He lost it. So he's not going to get that back. But that's why Mary Kay made that statement, is because Jimmy Haslam said, you guys are going to see Shador. And that's why I keep saying, when people bring up this Deshaun Watson thing, we'll never see Deshaun Watson, because Jimmy Haslam came out and said, I made a mistake. It was on me for spending all this money, okay? So if they don't play Shador Sanders, they're going to make Jimmy Haslam look like an idiot. And so that's why I know that kid is going to play at some point in time. A lot of folks are predicting that he might even see the field after the bye week. That's what people are predicting, that against, I think, either the Jets or the Raiders, that you may see Shador. And I'm telling y'all right now, we know two things may happen. Either Shedeur going to see the field and he's going to prove everybody wrong and take over this team, or he going to go out and he going to flame out. Either way, you got to find out.
Yep.
Okay.
This platform that we have, fellas, is so important because you never know whose ears it's going to hit. But when you have this platform, you've got to be responsible. And out of all the great things that happened on Sunday, I mean, Junkins running for 3 touchdowns, the defense getting after him, making Tua look really bad, in an environment where the Browns haven't been really successful this year, you saw a lot of success on the field Sunday. And it just amazes me that media group that should be hungry for success of this football team and the fan base that should be hungry for success of this football team, somebody somewhere was paying attention to the backup quarterback and where he sits on the sideline. It makes you
can't make this
think.
stuff up.
You can't make it up.
Can't make it up.
Makes you, it really, really makes you think. So it's going to be interesting. If the Browns get this one on Sunday, fellas, I agree with the both of you. Captain Hot Rod, I think we have something to look forward to down the stretch. But we're going to flip gears because we're going to talk about a team that's running it back. The NBA is starting up tonight.
Right.
We got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I believe play the Knicks tomorrow.
Yep.
Are you excited? I've heard some people talk about, I don't know, I'm not really excited for the Cavs. There was a lot of expectations last year. We came up short. The team has changed a little bit, not a whole lot. You excited about the Cavs? What do you expect from the Cavs, fellas?
I'm excited that the NBA is back, period. Like I said, L Train, this time of year, you got Major League Baseball still going. We're about to start the World Series. You got, of course, college football going on. You got the NFL that we've been talking about, and you got the NBA. And I'm excited.
Great time of year.
Yeah, I'm excited first and foremost to see Houston go against OKC tonight and to see Charles and the crew on ESPN to see what that looks like, okay? I'm excited about that. And then the second game, Golden State, against the Lakers. So I can't wait, man. I follow the NBA from start to finish, just like I follow baseball from start to finish. And then, like you say, tomorrow night, our Cavaliers, going at it against the Knicks. Now DeAndre Hunter's not going to be playing. His knee is a little nicked up. But I can't wait to see what the Cavaliers are going to bring. Now, again, last year, we know what they did in the regular season, and then they flamed out come playoff. This year, the regular season doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? I expect us to win the East, but it's all about what you do come playoff time, okay? So that's what I'll be, looking forward to. But to answer your question, not only am I excited about the Cavaliers, I'm excited about the whole NBA season again because I want to see what Kevin Durant looks like with those Houston Rockets. I hear he's going to be, the 2 guard because I guess Van Fleet is out. So, Kevin Durant's going to be playing the 2, and all they need out of him is just to be a scorer and a closer. They don't need him for no leadership. They don't need him for anything, but I can't wait to see what that looks like. But I am excited, man. And again, to see what Chuck and those look like on ESPN versus TNT, which I think we'll all miss.
I'm a first.
So that's where I am with that.
You brought up the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have the biggest starting 5 right now in NBA history. When you move Kevin Durant to the 2 guard, Jabari Parker, Şengün, those guys are huge. And to me, by Houston, and Ime Udoka is still a good coach, okay? He might not be a good person off the court.
He's a great coach.
He's
a great coach.
But
he's a great coach.
I truly believe that by them picking up Kevin Durant, that they are a threat to Oklahoma City.
Oh, man, I can't wait
Oklahoma,
to see what that looks
because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP, congratulations. But the Durantula is something to still reckon with at 36, 37 years old. Okay, and now you putting him at the 2 guard. And all you asking Kevin Durant to do, Kevin Durant is a professional scorer. Okay. Score. I mean, at one point in time in his career, Kevin Durant was the closest thing that I've ever seen next to Mike to that was unguardable. He was hard to guard. Okay, so I'm looking forward to watching Houston this season. I'm looking forward to seeing how OKC, tries to run it back. The Lakers, Luka's great. I like Luka, but I think watch LeBron. It's going to be interesting watching LeBron this season, especially if the Lakers don't come out, and and start winning right away. And we'll get into that discussion later on because I think this, of course, is LeBron's last year in LA, but this is not his last year playing. So then we have to discuss next year, but we ain't going to get into that now. In terms of the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the changes. I'm really looking forward to Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo Ball is the Alex Caruso of the Cavaliers. Because when Oklahoma City picked up Alex Caruso, he took them over the top. Okay, as much as Shea Gilgeous and Lou Dort, you know, much as those guys, it was Alex Caruso in the finals. And watching Lonzo Ball, as long as he stays healthy, the pace, and this dude, he loves to pass. He's got Kenny Atkinson said he's got a real high IQ.
Loves
and
it.
So Kenny Atkinson already trusts him.
Yeah, he does.
Darius Garland came out just the other day and said, if I was healthy, we win the finals. That's the type of mentality that I need.
I heard that.
The biggest thing for Darius Garland is him just to stay healthy. I hated that DeAndre Hunter got hurt because DeAndre, watching him during the preseason, he was lights out. So now I want
he'll be okay. Give him a couple
fans
weeks.
to
He'll
understand they not gonna run off 15 in a row. Don't, because my thing is expectation is the first stage of disappointment. Don't do that. We want to see them develop during the regular season. I think they'll win 60 games. Now remember, as L Train says, that's fluid. Don't y'all lock me in on that. But I think and that'll be 2 years in a row that they win 60 or more games. Okay. But yes, I do agree the playoffs is because they flamed out. They beat a terrible Miami Heat team and then ran into the Pacers.
Yes, all about
the
playoffs.
only challenge that I think that they have this year is the New York Knicks. I don't think Boston's going to be there. I don't think Indiana's going to be there. So Detroit is a conundrum because Detroit, they went and got Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is now in Detroit. And I think they got another Cavalier that's in Detroit. Okay, so J.B. Bickerstaff went and got some former Cavaliers. To me, they're still young. Cade Cunningham is a stud, but it's the surrounding supporting cast. And I'm going to be honest with you, J.B. Bickerstaff has brought back a little bit of that old school Pistons, that bad boy Piston. He's kind of brought that back, but I just don't see, Cavs going to lose some games, but I don't see the Cavs not winning the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. One other team, too, in the East, Rod and L Train, beware of is the Hawks, okay? They did some stuff over
you
the
mean
offseason,
Seth Curry?
too, so
Trae Young?
Well.
Is that
don't count Atlanta out.
Is that what you saying?
They put a couple of pieces around him, Rod.
Seth
they put a couple
Curry,
of pieces around him.
Man.
So don't count
Poor
them
man.
out.
I think that was the verbiage. Poor man, Seth Curry.
Yeah, Marcus is still mad at you. Marcus is still mad at you about that.
I do not have
Marcus listens
any
every week, too.
confidence
Every
in
week
the
he
Atlanta
listens.
Hawks. I know they got Porzingis. I get that because Boston had a fire sale because they couldn't afford everybody. But it's been shown that when Kristaps Porzingis is on a team that's not vying for a championship, he doesn't play well. The last time that I remember Porzingis playing well other than Boston was when he was in Dallas. And he was in Dallas with Luka. Okay, I remember the Kristaps Porzingis that was in Washington. Yeah. He was terrible. I remember the Kristaps Porzingis that was in New York. He wasn't very good after Carmelo left. So I'm not. I know they made some moves, but I'm still not so. And I and no disrespect, I'm out here tripping, but I don't look at Trae Young as the type of player that's going to take a team over the top. I just don't see it. I don't see where Trae Young is going to elevate the Atlanta Hawks. Now, they got a young team. They got a young team other than Porzingis. They got some young dogs. I just don't think that they have the right leadership yet. I don't look at Trae Young as a leader. I look at him as a very good player, even though I'm like I said, I'm clowning on him. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's the type of leader that the Atlanta Hawks need to get over the top.
Yeah, I'll make this short because I want to ask a couple of questions that are in the mailbag and throw it out at you guys, but I'll make this short. Hot Rod said a couple of weeks ago to the Cleveland fans, we got to stop settling for mediocrity. So this is my hot take on the Cleveland Cavs. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the top team in the Eastern Conference. Bar none. who should be better than the Cleveland Cavaliers? It's not the Boston Celtics. It's not the Indiana Pacers with their injury. It should be, we have had 2 good seasons in a row, pretty much, where we've come up short. We've got the coaching now. We've got the personnel now. We're pretty good at every spot. So this should be our year. This should be our time to get to the finals. Early season speculation, OKC is probably going to win the championship again, go back-to-back, but that remains to be seen. I think Houston's going to have a lot to say about that. Don't sleep on the Dallas Mavericks.
Right.
I
When
was
they get
also,
healthy. When
yep,
they get healthy, yep.
yep. I was also pretty disappointed that my Timberwolves didn't do a whole lot. I think the expectation, when they got rid of Big Cat and sent him to New York, they didn't want to pay Big Cat that $60 million contract. That was too rich for their blood. So they got out of that market to get themselves underneath that second apron. Watch out for the Timberwolves late. Like, they have had a couple of stud young guys on their bench that were drafted a year ago that really haven't had the opportunity to play in Shannon Jr. Listen, man, the Timberwolves, if those guys develop, they got a lot of speed, they got a lot of athleticism. The Timberwolves are not a championship team. Don't get me wrong. They're just going to be in the conversation. I don't even look at them as a Western Conference final team anyway, but I think a lot of people are speculating because they didn't make a whole lot of moves. They didn't get Kevin Durant in the offseason, who was rumored to be going there, that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to fall off a little bit. I don't think they're going to fall off. I think they're going to be right there. Anthony Edwards is a stud. I just don't think he has that hunger that a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan had. That's always been my critique of him. But I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be right there. Fellas, I got a couple of questions that I want to throw out to you guys. Joey from Shaker Heights wants to know from the captain and Hot Rod,
Raiders.
Will Kenny Atkinson make Mobley a superstar, or will he just be a pretty basketball ornament, as he's been the last couple years?
Yeah, I'm hoping he makes him a superstar, okay? When he first came to the team, I thought he was going to utilize him like, he did Draymond out there in Golden State, okay? Have the offense run through him. So that's what I'm hoping, okay? And I think that's what needs to happen for us to finally make things happen come playoff time. Everything has to, run through Evan Mobley. He has to be the center of everything. I, so hope and pray that he can get close to being that dog like Kevin Garnett, okay? Just with everything that he brings, on the court. So I'm hoping for that to happen.
So
I really am. I am.
Evan Mobley, I think he can, right? I think he averaged 18 and 8 or 9 last year, somewhere in there. I think 2010 this year is him. And I also believe that by Darius Garland being out, Kenny Atkinson already said that they're looking for Evan Mobley to take control. Even Donovan Mitchell has said, this team is not going to run off of me. This team has to run off of Evan Mobley. So Evan Mobley right now, this is his show and prove year. He had the time is now, because when Evan Mobley is focused,
make it happen.
Evan Mobley is hard to guard, and he plays both ends of the floor. So, but I'm also looking at, he had Tristan Thompson as his vet. This year he has Thomas Bryant. And I think Thomas Bryant, because, they say he's all energy, and I think Lonzo Ball is going to be good for him as well, because Lonzo Ball is going to feed him.
Help too, yeah. He will.
And I said this real quick, is that I think he would benefit being in the high post. You know about that, L Train. Being in the high post and running that offense through him from the high post, because he's going to make you difficult to guard. So I think Evan's going to make that jump.
Yep, I hope so.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're going to see a big jump from Mobley. Whether or not it's because of Kenny Atkinson and his system, I don't know, but I think he's got that potential, man. And again, Hot Rod talked about that high post. When you do that, you create a lot of space. You create a vacuum in the paint where you can run a lot of Princeton cuts, some backdoor cuts, and Mobley has that ability to shoot from that area and drive to the basket. So if they can continue to get him in that high post set, I think it creates a lot of problems for teams. Marcus from Cleveland said, hey, fellas, Julian Sand, in my opinion, is the best quarterback that the Ohio State Buckeyes have had in their organization for a long time. That's a strong statement because Ohio State has had a lot of good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Julian Saint?
He's great, but as of late, I still like Justin Fields and, Cardell. What was Cardell's last name? The
Cardell
other kid
Jones.
that we had, the big kid, Cardell, that the Buckeyes had.
Yeah,
Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jones.
12
yeah,
gauge.
Yeah,
12
yeah,
gauge.
12 gauge. Yeah. Yeah, Saint just is something. But as of lately, Justin Fields was my guy, okay? Which is sad to see what he's amounted to so far in his NFL career. I really think when he was with the Bears, they really stunted his growth. They did something to that kid that just, he just took, a step or two backwards. But for right now, I don't see anybody beating the Buckeyes, okay? I was telling the kid in the gym this morning, they're going to win the national championship. My only concern is, Michigan going forward and Penn State, because those two rivals will get up for the Buckeyes. But if we can beat those two teams, I don't see anybody stopping us again, especially after Miami lost.
Yeah,
that's my take.
Marcus, that was a very bold statement. Yeah, that was a very bold statement.
I know it
but
was.
You're forgetting somebody by the name of Troy Smith, Heisman Trophy winner. Gaskins was a good quarterback. Cardell, we talked about Cardell Jones. I mean,
Art
you know
Schlichter.
what I'm saying? We
Art
had
Schlichter.
some really good quarterbacks. So there's no knock to Julian Saint. I think he's one of the more accurate passers.
None whatsoever.
Remember, he was recruited to Alabama, and then Nick Saban left. Nick Saban says he's the best quarterback in America, okay? And I'll listen to Nick Saban. He's proven it. And he's starting to become comfortable in the offense, which is dangerous. And he's got 2 first-round draft pick wide receivers that I wish the Browns had. He's got them both because Carnell Tate ain't no slouch, okay? Ennis is a good slot receiver, and that boy Jeremiah Smith on the outside is an absolute dog. He got weapons. Okay? And then local Cleveland boy, Bo Jackson, he started off as a third running back, and now he's the number 1 running back. So, and then with Matt Patricia on that defensive side, the Buckeyes are legitimate number 1. And everybody else just falls into place. But to say that, Julian Saint is the best quarterback in Buckeyes history, hold up, slow down there, Marcus, slow down.
Yeah. Just to keep it fair for Marcus, he said the best quarterback in a long time.
I
so
know.
T hit him with Art Schlichter. I was man,
Art Schlichter.
I haven't heard that.
Herb Street.
Way back.
I mean, come on.
Way back.
Listen.
Yeah.
Kurt Herb Street,
God.
baby.
What did you say?
Yeah.
What? Oh my God. That's another conversation for another day. Here's what I'll say about Julian Saint. Like, here's another hot take for me. I've had a couple of hot takes. Cavs should be the best team in the East. The Ohio State Buckeyes don't have to worry about Michigan this year. They don't got to worry about Michigan. This Julian Saint kid I'm not saying he's the best quarterback that we've had here in a long time, but I got a feeling that when it's all said and done with, fellas, this kid he's got that it factor, man.
Yeah.
He is a quiet assassin.
He's special.
Like his accuracy is crazy. His ball placement on Saturday was second to none. I mean, if a defender tries to play overneath, he's putting that thing in the top right corner where only his receivers can catch it. He is good in his progressions.
Yeah.
Not only is he good in his progressions, but he's quick in his progressions. Like he can
and
go
very
from
calm in the pocket. Very
calm in the pocket. I mean, this kid has an it factor where on Saturdays, I am pretty comfortable with when he's got the ball in his hands. And I'm gonna be honest with you, to kind of back up Marcus a little bit. I haven't been this comfortable, even with Will Howard last year, and I'm a big Justin Fields guy. I think Justin Fields he's put himself in a little bit of bad situations. Not that he had a choice of going with the Chicago Bears, but the Chicago Bears can't develop quarterbacks. You look at the New York Jets can't develop a quarterback. So I don't put any of what's happening on Justin Fields with those organizations. I put none of that on him. He should have stayed with Pittsburgh because you could see he started to blossom under Mike Tomlin, but he got hurt, which was very unfortunate. But Julian Saint, man, is a box office quarterback, and I can't wait to see how this kid grows with the Ohio State Buckeyes, because I think he is box office. Fellas, with all of that, all the good stuff that's happening with the Browns, the NBA is starting up, the Buckeyes are are winning games, man, there are still days where, unfortunately, people come up missing. People come up missing, man, and we have to when people come up missing,
Where
we
my
want to do our
binoculars?
part.
Where my
We want to do our
binoculars?
part. We want to put out APBs for people so we can get them off the streets and get them in rehab and get them the resources that they need. So, Hot Rod, start it off,
I
man.
got some
You got some
all-point
APBs
bulletins.
You got
I
out for
got some. You check your local listings. See if you can find them. Check it all. Number 1, Tua Tagovailoa. My goodness, bruh. MIA, missing in action. Where are you, brother? Where you at? You sat there and you criticized your entire team, came back, tried to backtrack, and then went out there and laid an absolute egg. Got benched for Quinn Ewers, okay? Yes, Tua Tagovailoa. Where you at? All points bulletin, y'all. Number 2, out here in Arizona.
Wait, hey, you got to give the number out. If you see Tua,
if you see Tua Tagovailoa, call 1-800. Where you at, bruh? There you go. All right. Number 2, out here in Arizona, APB out for Kyler Murray. What? Oh my goodness, Kyler Murray. I don't know where you at, man. Hey, look, Kyler, I'm knocking on doors, man. I'm asking folks that they seen you. I went to the local Dairy Queen. They said they hadn't seen you in months. Where you at? Kyler Murray is, yes.
He may be hanging out with some of his new
Murray
brothers.
is the APB.
Some of his Kappa Alpha Psi
and we
brothers.
talked about him. I love him. I got Ohio State love. But Justin Fields, you got benched for Tyrod Taylor. Do you know, in all due respect, how bad you have to be playing to get benched for Tyrod Taylor? Okay? So, listen, I went to the local Burger King and I asked, a couple of people up in Burger King, have you seen Justin Fields? They said he ain't been here in months. So, 3 quarterbacks that I'm trying to look for. Listen, if you see them, please, we are so concerned about all 3 of them. Call 1-800, where you been, bruh? That's all I'm asking. B, I ain't seen you. All right? If you see him, hold on to him.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah, they missing in action, for real.
Yeah, Kyler Murray has been rumored to be around GameStops looking at video games. You know how he likes to play video games, but don't approach him. Call 1-800, where you been,
put up a fight.
I had somebody tell me Tagovailoa, they saw him at the local Blockbuster.
I got a couple of APBs I want to add, man. Penn State's pride, man. Where is Penn State's pride? They've lost 4 in a row to Oregon, UCLA, Northwestern, and now Iowa, who's been devoid of an offense for about 50 years. APB out on Penn State's pride. 1-800-L-Train. And I'm going to stick with the Penn State Nittany Lions. Has anybody seen Jim Knowles? Has anybody seen? I'm going to put an APB out for Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles left Ohio State for the bag. He didn't want to be with the national champions anymore. I think we upgraded, but I haven't seen Jim Knowles in a very long time or his defense. Oregon scored 30 on him. UCLA scored 42 on him. Northwestern scored 22 on them. And Iowa, who, if they score 14 points, they think it's a good game, scored 25 points on Jim Knowles. And that defense putting an APB out for Jim Knowles. And the Penn State Nittany Lions. If you see them, especially Jim Knowles, he has a lot of money and a lot of resources. Don't approach him at all.
Wow.
That is our 3 the hard way. APB. Wow, man.
Wow. That was a good one.
So let's get to our 3-a-days with Hot Rod, Mr. Rodney.
All right, so I only got one
3-a-days
for my 3-a-days, okay? And it is the New York Football Giants. They played the Denver Broncos this weekend, and they went up. I mean, they shut Denver out for the first 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden, the Broncos scored 31 unanswered points to win the game. They had been shut out the entire game. So guess what? The New York Football Giants, Brian Dable, you got 3-a-days, bro. Okay?
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
y'all got 3 a day.
Yeah.
There is no way. And remember, that was, oh my
Talk about a
goodness,
choke job.
that's choking on your
Talk
food.
about a choke job.
You had
That was a choke
3
job.
quarters of shutout football, and you gave up 31 points in the 4th quarter alone.
Ooh.
Yeah. Come on. We got to get to work, gentlemen. We got to get to work.
And just remember, a couple of weeks ago, he was yelling at the doctors in the blue tent when they took his quarterback in there. Remember?
Yeah,
that's
when
right.
When the quarterback Jackson Dart got hurt, and he went in there yelling at the doctors, hollering at the doctors. I think the NFL is going to do something about that because that was ugly. That did not look good at all. Yeah, him doing that. Yeah.
Hot Rod's 2 a day. Hot Rod's being very selective this week. He didn't go all out and put a blanket. He wanted to put in somebody that he really felt would be really good to rehab in his 2 a days.
Sir.
Great job, Hot Rod. Great job, Hot Job. Wow. All right, fellas, listen, man. Let me pull this up. I got my Mystery Brown of the week.
Okay.
I think Hot Rod has the lead. What, 3-2?
4-2. 4-2. Hot Rod's up on me, man.
I didn't mean to short your points, Hot Rod. All right.
Yeah, if this was a series, I'd be done. I'd be gone home. If this was a series, if this was a 7-game series, I'd be done.
You need a win like the Browns need to beat the Patriots on Sunday. This could turn your season around right here.
Good.
Here we go, man. First clue, Mystery Brown of the week. This Mystery Brown went undrafted in 2025. 2025. Again, he joined the Browns as an undrafted free agent, fella.
Okay.
Nope. He threw for 10,000 yards in college. All right. He scored more touchdowns returning kicks than passes. He made it to 3 Pro Bowls and was an All-Pro in 2009.
Josh Cribbs?
Kaiser?
Josh Cribbs is the answer. Good job, Hot Rod. Josh Cribbs, man. Woo. I knew the 10,000 yard thing was going to throw you off, because he really didn't do a whole lot of quarterbacking in the league. He was more like a punt specialist, wide receiver, kick return guy.
Yeah.
Josh.
You can arguably,
good guess,
you can
man.
arguably
Josh
say
I
he
wouldn't
should
have got
be
that
considered for the Hall of Fame because Devin Hester had his, Devin Hester did his thing, in the NFL. Josh Cribbs was second to Devin Hester. So Josh Cribbs has a legitimate argument.
Yeah.
Josh Cribbs. 5-2, man.
Yeah. When I was looking all this stuff up, I didn't realize he was an All-Pro in 2009.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize he made 3 Pro Bowls. That surprised me. I knew he was a good player, but that really surprised me.
Now, L-Train, I think you threw me off a little bit when you said
2025.
2025.
It threw me off, too.
Threw me off.
So, like you said, he got drafted.
25, yeah.
You said he got drafted in 2025, and that threw me off, too, because if you'd have said...
Yeah. So, Hot Rod, you won this one, but it's got an asterisk next to it.
It's got an asterisk next to it. That's my bad.
Got an asterisk next to it. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's like playing in COVID. That was playing in the
That was a COVID win, yeah.
That was a COVID win right there.
Gotcha, that was a good one.
All right, we got for our take, start 1, bench 1, cut 1, erase 1, a take that everybody looks forward to every week. I believe the captain
I got a good one
this week, man. So I'm looking forward to it. What do we got?
I got a good one. All right, this category, fellas, this is a good one. This is going to be former athlete, turn media person / analyst, / sports analyst. So this is someone who used to play the game. Now they are behind the microphone as either an analyst or a sportscaster or a journalist, okay?
Okay, so what are we analyzing here? What's the deal?
Okay, they once played, now how great they are behind the microphone.
Gotcha, okay.
How great they are, former athlete, now behind the mic, and how great they are.
Okay.
First person I'm going to go with is none other than Sir Charles Barkley.
Okay.
Charles Barkley. He once played, now he's behind the microphone.
Yep.
Second guy, none other than Hall of Famer Michael Strahan.
Okay.
Michael Strahan. Yep. I remember when he was on Fox Sports before he went with national media. He was awesome, man, on Fox Sports Radio. That dude was good, man. Yes, he was. Michael Strahan. Next, the late, great Joe Morgan, from the Cincinnati Reds. Little Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer, athlete, and then get behind the microphone. And last but not least, athlete behind the mic now, Tony Romo.
Okay.
Tony Romo. So again, you got Sir Charles. We all know who he is. Michael Strahan, Joe Morgan for baseball, and Tony Romo for football. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one.
You sure you don't want Tom Brady in there?
No, he hasn't been doing it long enough. Yeah, he hadn't been doing it long enough.
All right, this is tough because I have to separate my own personal liking to what I think is the correct way to go on this.
Wifey helped me come up with this category.
This is good.
Yep.
This is good.
Yep, I got it. Let me.
All right,
let me
you want
go,
to take it?
'cause
You want me to go?
I'm about to. I know I'm about
All
to
right.
shock everybody with this one. I'm going to start Joe Morgan. I'm going to bench
Wow.
Charles Barkley.
Great Joe Morgan.
I'm going to cut Michael Strahan,
Okay.
and I'm going to erase Tony Romo.
There you go. There you go.
Ooh.
Athletes now behind the microphone.
Hot Rod is pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I am going to start Michael Strahan. I am going to bench Charles Barkley. I am going to cut Joe Morgan, and I'm going to erase Tony Romo.
I think we were all very similar. Wow, that was a good one, L-Train. Yeah, we were all very similar. I'll close it out by saying I'm going to start Charles Barkley. I'm going to start him. I'm going to bench Michael Strahan. I'm going to cut Joe Morgan. I used to love him on Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller. Oh, they were awesome. And then I'm going to erase, who's good, but I'm going to erase him, Tony Romo. I'm going to erase Tony Romo. Yep.
Yep. That's a good one, man. That was a good one.
I love Joe Morgan.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Mrs. Austin?
I love
Yeah,
Joe
she
Morgan.
gave me that idea.
Joe Morgan.
Great
when
job.
That idea.
I did not know. I didn't know
he
anything
was awesome,
about
wasn't he?
baseball. It was two guys that I would listen to, Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench. I would listen to both of them, and I learned so much about baseball just listening to Joe Morgan. Plus, Joe Morgan was entertaining as well, and a good baseball player. Very good. Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so.
Hell of a baseball player. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
All right. That's a good one. Good one.
Nice, man. Nice. All right. Well, a very good one. T and Hot Rod, you guys, man, I got to level up my game because you guys come with it every week, man. I got a good one for you when it's my turn coming up. I've been saving it. I'm taking it out of the archives, so be ready for it. Let's get to our parting shots, fellas. What do you got for parting shots?
Okay, I'm going to keep it simple. The other day I was listening to Cleveland radio. I think it was Monday morning, and a caller called in. I believe his name was Jeff. But he called into the radio station talking about he took his nephew to his first Cleveland Browns game, okay? Yeah. He took his nephew. He and his sister took, the sister's, son, and how the kid really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the game. The Browns got a win. He got the elements of the weather, the whole 9 yards. And then toward the end, the caller got a little choked up because he said this was his first time going to a Browns game without his dad, okay? And that kind of touched me a little bit right there, when he said that. So just a simple guy out of the blue that said his nephew just loved and enjoyed his first Browns game, man. That was just kind of touching. And it just kind of hit me at the right moment because I needed to hear that. So there you go.
I wanted to send my heartfelt condolences to the families of Doug Martin. Doug Martin was a running back for Boise State, and he actually ran, he was a running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He unfortunately passed away at 36 years old this week. Once again, I just want to let everybody know, we talk sports, man, but, life is precious, and you gotta let the folks that you know that you love them. You gotta tell them that you love them because no day is given. So I want to send my heartfelt condolences. And Doug Martin was a really good running back, and so I want to send my condolences to his family and the Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization.
Yeah, really, really good ones, man. Really good ones. My parting shot is, I don't know if you guys know the story of Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers is a cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings. Previously, he won a Super Bowl ring with the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year, he was kind of like a nickel guy. He wasn't one of their main cornerbacks or starters, but he had a big role on the team with the Philadelphia Eagles. Minnesota Vikings picked him up in free agency this summer. A couple weeks ago, he had arguably the best defensive game that a D-back has ever had in the NFL. And on Sunday, he got torched by his former team. And so on social media, there was a group of fans from Minnesota I shouldn't say they're from Minnesota, but they're Minnesota Viking fans that decided to reach out in an inappropriate way. And there was nothing but racial slurs on his social media. They're upset about the game that he played. And to his credit, Rodgers laughed it off on social media. He had the laughing emojis. But when you get hit with something like that, man, that hurts. So people need to stop taking this stuff so seriously. I mean, we all are passionate about our teams. We all are passionate about certain players, man. But I think to have a take like that, that's just an extreme take. You know, I can't imagine myself doing that to a player out there of a team that I supposedly support. I mean, just nasty stuff. And I'm always the type of person that doesn't run away from that stuff. People need to go on his social media and see that stuff. If you haven't seen it, you will see the venom of just the guy that was trying to make plays in a football game on Sunday. So racism is real. It's still out there. Just be aware, man. That's my parting shot. Really, really sad story.
Real quick, and that's a great take, man. These keyboard thugs be getting me. You know, you want to be on the keyboard and you want to send this venom and vitriol. Yep. It's a game, y'all. It's a game. You know, y'all out here burning jerseys. Y'all look goofy because y'all pay good hard-earned money for these jerseys. And y'all sitting up here burning them, you know, and then you got a guy who's just trying to make a living. He's trying to compete. He had a bad game, and now here you guys trying to vilify him. Shame on fans who do that. Just come on, man. Yeah. We sit up here and we talk about these players, but we don't get personal with them. You know what I mean? We don't get personal because it's not about the person. It's about the play, and we move on. That's just crazy.
Yeah. And it's so funny because a couple of weeks ago when they played the Cincinnati Bengals, and again, I said he had arguably one of the best defensive games that anybody ever played. He caused 3 fumbles, and he had 2 pick sixes, and he had a sack in that game. So, I mean, it's funny the ebb and flows of fandom and how people, digest stuff. So very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Fellas, thanks again for a great show. I was happy we could get on tonight.
That's it.
You know, 3 the hard way coming at you. This thing is continuing to grow. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Share with as many people as you possibly can so we can continue to keep this thing growing.
Fellas,
it's been a pleasure, man.
Y'all enjoy it.
Brothers, have a blessed week. See you next week. And go Browns. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Go Cavs. And go Buckeyes.
That's right.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.